PRS and Gibson. I think that these two brands get compared all the time. You're either a PRS fan saying it's better than Gibson, you're a Gibson fan saying that PRS will never be a Gibson, all those things, and I want to compare them and let's see who really is best. And before we get into all that, this video is sponsored by me and my new guitar course. So if you want to snag that, you can get it for 50% off this week. It's linked down below in the description, and I appreciate all the support. So the categories I want to compare these in are comfort, tone, weight, balance, and probably the most important one for me is vibe/feel. So let's dive into the comfort category. I think that the PRS definitely wins here. Something that it has that the Les Paul just does not have are the comfort cuts. It's literally in the title of it, comfort. That's what they're after. So you've got this one, which it kind of just hugs your body. You know, a Les Paul can feel a little bit sharp here on your ribs if you sit for too long with it. So PRS kind of wins in that one right off the bat. The rest of the guitar, the neck, all that stuff, you know, they don't feel the same, but they're similar in comfort factors. And they both have this arched top on them. So comfortability, PRS. Now let's move on to weight and balance, because this is another kind of crucial component into the whole configuration of all this stuff. PRS significantly lighter than a Les Paul, which I think ties into the balance. Whenever I'm playing a PRS, you can see I can take my hands away from it. I'm not really worried about it going anywhere. It's a very balanced instrument. It just kind of sits on your lap. Even the single cut versions do this. They do not bottom out. Now my Les Paul, very heavy. If I don't keep my hands on it, or you know, just kind of like be aware of where the guitar is, it'll flip off your leg. You know, SGs might neck dive, Les Pauls are gonna bottom out on you. You gotta watch that stuff. You know, as far as just the weight distribution, the PRS definitely wins here and are typically lighter in general. Okay, so we're talking tones, Les Paul in hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and play a couple different examples. I'm gonna keep everything humbucker only. The PRS does coil split and this one does not, but that's something you could add if you wanted to. So let's go ahead and hear the tones and I'll tell you what I think about them. So now you heard them, which one did you prefer? Because I know which one I liked best. Now, as much as I love the PRS, I love the Les Paul. I love Les Paul tones in general, even though I think the PRS is probably more versatile as far as the array of tones that are available to you. I think the Les Paul wins. It has something that the PRS just doesn't have. There's that little extra factor, this extra, you know, thump that it has, or the roundness of the notes, whatever it is. So one example I have is a lot of times I love to track stuff with my PRS. I like to get a nice scratch track with it, with the concept in mind that I'm going to retrack a lot of these guitars. And a lot of times for the bigger rhythms, I want a Les Paul. The PRS sounds great, but I replace a lot of those tracks with the Les Paul because I feel like it has a very specific and very particular sound to it. So PRS sounds great, but I gotta say, Les Paul has it. It has that extra 10%, whatever it is. I always just have that vibe with the Les Paul. So the final one I want to talk about here is feel and vibe, because to me, Les Paul wins all day long. I think that a Les Paul in general has a very, very unique feel and vibe to it. I think that the PRS is probably built a little bit better, very versatile, can kind of do anything, But a Les Paul is just, it has it all for me. It has this like grittiness factor to it that I like. That the PRS is very polished, you know, and I love that, and sometimes I want that. I always say that, you know, PRS is kind of perfect to me, but you don't always want that. The Les Paul has something that I pretty much always want. It's just that it factor. So to me, out of all the categories, everything put together, Les Paul wins because it just has that it factor. So I think on that note, I'm gonna bounce on out of here. Keep in mind, this was not a video to bash PRS, to bash Gibson or anything. I just like comparing stuff. I like both guitars. If you can, own both of them. And if you would, check out my guitar course while it's here for 50% off. After this week, all sales will end on it. And we're gonna end a bluesy Les Paul style with a big old overbend. Totally messed up there at the end, but I'm leaving it.